Hello everyone, welcome to this presentation on Teradata Vantage. My name is Imad Berberdi and I'm here with Yoko Wateri. We are part of the Teradata Technical Marketing team. And I can take you through Teradata Vantage, and as we go through this you'll get a very thorough understanding of what Teradata Vantage is, what the component parts are, how they work, how they fit together, how all of this fits into your analytical ecosystem. We'll look at some futures that are coming down the path. So the overall goal is to give you as complete a view of Teradata Vantage as possible. Now, before we jump into Teradata Vantage, I want to do a little bit of setup as to why this is important and how it fits in. And so bear with me here because this is going to sound like marketing talk, but it's really not. It's really, if you pay close attention, this is really a good understanding of why this is all needed. To start out, we see a lot of companies investing in analytics, and we think that's great. The interest in analytics and being able to get to information is great, but it's really about the answers. At Teradata, we say invest in answers. It's not the analytics. The analytics are a means to an end, and it's not about the new shiny toy, the new shiny analytic. It's really about getting down to the business problem and making sure the technology gets out of the way and is able to support getting you the answers you need to run your business. And when you do that, it's not a siloed approach. You need to be able to do this across data silos, bring them all together at scale as your data sizes grow, as your analytics get more complex, as your number of users. You need to do this at scale, anytime, anywhere, for all the different users. That's a true fundamental belief of ours. And when we've given it a name, we call it Pervasive Data Intelligence. Right? So having that access to all the data, running analytics across multiple formats of data, regardless of where that data resides, inside your firewall, out in a public cloud, different formats of the data, different analytics, being able to bring all that together to bear on a business problem to deliver answers. And across the organization to all the users, we refer to that as pervasive data intelligence. It is important and can't be understated the fact that users across the organization need to be reading from the same page. They all need access to the same data in order to make decisions based on the same information, but deliver to them in the way, in the format, and at the level that they need. So the business executive needs data that's highly integrated across all parts of the organization to be boiled up to their level, delivered to them through dashboards. Very, very difficult questions to answer to run the business, while the CIO needs an environment with the lowest total cost of ownership, lowest needs for maintenance, high amounts of integration to be able to serve the business and the powerful analytics. And the business analyst needs access to all the data in the way that they work with the tools, whether it's SQL-based or R or Python, the tools that they need, and rapidly run analytics so they can iterate and run new analytics and spend their time focusing on answering the business problem, not trying to get the technology to work. We refer to all that as pervasive data intelligence. This is where Teradata Vantage comes in. This is the platform that delivers the pervasive data intelligence, lets you kind of rise above the complexity, get away from the details of the technology, and just make sure that the technology is working and delivering those business answers. Let's dive into Teradata Vantage and understand it, and we'll start off with the Analyze Anything. Vantage is built on three components: functions and engines, tools and languages, and integrated data sets. So functions and engines, we're talking here about analytic techniques, all the different functions that you have, powerful functions accessible to all your users, and also different analytic engines. So everything from database technologies to machine learning, scoring, and graph, and all the different types of engines working together to solve a problem. And then tools and languages, whether they're data management tools or BI and visualization tools, the languages, whether it's SQL, R, Python, Java, the different languages that are used by the different user groups. An integrated data set, regardless of the data type, the different data formats, data types, storage locations, technologies that are storing or running the data, being able to bring that data together, whether it's pre-planned that the data is brought together or at runtime to reach out in real time and grab those integrated data sets. These are the fundamental features and capabilities of Vantage. And when you look at it from an architecture perspective, it looks like this, with a clear separation of compute and storage. We have the storage layer on the left here, and that separation is not only to be able to scale the compute and storage independently of one another, but what you'll see is that that brings us the ability to deeply integrate different data stores, such as object storage. You'll see that in the future slides. So we've got the data storage. We've got a high-speed fabric. That's any fabric that will tie the processing technologies together. But if this is running on the Teradata IntelliFlex system, this is the BiNet over InfiniBand. Running the BiNet protocol, also running QueryGrid for high-speed, low-latency, high-throughput access to data and passing of data and instructions between the different engines. Then on the engine side, we start out with NewSQL. The NewSQL engine is built on database technology, but it goes way beyond this. NewSQL refers to the ability to run advanced analytic functions, way beyond what standard SQL can give you. Things like pattern and path analysis and scoring functions and machine learning and graph, all invoked through SQL. So this is both an engine and a language. The point here is that this is not your father's SQL, right? This is not your father's SQL. This is very powerful analytics, highly scalable, and we wanted to give it a new name to differentiate it from the standard SQL. Then we have machine learning and graph, the powerful machine learning graph functions that over 180 built-in functions for both supervised and unsupervised learning to create models, run models, train them, and execute on them. These engines work together. They're not just plugged in for convenience to be able to manually invoke them. They work seamlessly and have intimate knowledge of each other under the covers. So for example, if a user submits a request to run a graph analytic on a customer table, these engines will work together. The request will enter into Vantage to run the graph analytic on a customer table. The NewSQL engine will take that, parse the request, understand it, and figure, okay, while I myself don't know how to do a graph analytic, I have a friend over here that does know how to do a graph analytic. Let me pass the data and the function to them, to the graph technology, execute it, return the results to this NewSQL engine, and back to the user. User did not know any of that happened. All they did was ask for something to be done, and it was done for them. It's completely transparent under the covers. Then we have different languages. The top languages used for analytics across the world, in the business world, are SQL, Python, and R. Those are the top ones. And we have those covered, plus more. With SAS, we've got Java, there's other languages as well that aren't listed here. And then also the tools, different tools, and these kind of go hand in hand with the languages as well. Given the user's skill set, given the user's preferred tools, having access to BI visualization tools, analytic tools, notebooks, IDEs, all of these things available. Now, recognizing that not all possible analytic capabilities and data are covered by Vantage, you see down the bottom, there's QueryGrid. QueryGrid is Teradata's technology that will let you access external data at query runtime to both retrieve data and access data through, again, standard SQL here, or invoke functions on the remote systems. We'll talk about QueryGrid a little bit more later on. So if we take the NewSQL engine, that is built on the SQL Analytics. So this is essentially the Teradata database underneath the covers with everything you know about it, the availability, the performance, the concurrency, the workload, everything that's powerful about the Teradata database, but now giving it a promotion, taking it up a level, infusing in it the 4D analytics, which is unique to Teradata, being able to run geospatial, temporal, time series all together, but also adding pattern and path analysis directly in the SQL engine here, sessionization, attribution, scoring functions, being able to score directly on your production data without moving any data. This is a very, very powerful engine here. And the 4D analytics can't be understated. This is, again, unique capability that Teradata can do, operational and production within one tool. Geospatial, representing the three physical dimensions, latitude, longitude, elevation, that's your X, Y, and Z coordinate. Time series, getting any set of time series data, such as, keeping a temperature and weather and machines and sensors. We have a unique way to handle that for both ingesting, laying down that data, and accessing it. It's a unique capability that doesn't exist anywhere else in the market. So time series functions, time series primary time index, and time series aggregates to be able to run time series functions. And then temporal representing valid times, valid begin and end times. So your health insurance starts on January 1 through December 31st. A retail coupon has a start and end date, valid time periods. When you put all these together, you have 4D analytics. 4 dimensions being the 3 physical, and then time being the 4th dimension. This is important because in today's world, this is a reflection of reality. Everything is mobile. Consumers are mobile. Consumers are moving around. Distributors have fleets of trucks that are moving around. You have automobiles that are being tracked and have GPS access and remote access that are moving around. Being able to track all of these in real time is very important. And we can talk about this for a long time, but we should move on. Very, very powerful and absolutely necessary for in today's world to have a business competitive advantage here in understanding customer. Also important is things like the path and pattern analysis. What you're seeing here is a short recorded video of using pattern and path analysis directly against the Teradata Vantage using what we call a path analyzer here. It's brought out through App Center. App Center is how these visualizations are brought out. And what you're seeing here is more of what an end result of how would a user interact with this. If they're not writing code, they can do a point and click and find these powerful analytics by finding, in this case, a path for a customer viewing a bill, and then eventually going down and doing a service complaint. You can look at the different paths that your users take. Extremely powerful, but yet with the simplicity of point and click and visual representation. So powerful analytics being given to users in a very simple and easy to consume, easy to work with manner. The full video of this is available on Teradata.com and it's fully narrated. Next are the machine learning and graph engines. Over 180 functions built in, everything from math and statistics to text analysis, sentiment analysis, clustering, path patterns, decision trees, graph. Lots and lots of powerful functions, all invoked through standard SQL. So this is bringing capabilities that were not accessible to business analysts and making them accessible through standard SQL, through the language and the tools that they know and use. So bringing the ability to do data science to the business analyst. And not just the business analyst, you can embed these in any dashboard, any analytic running at scale directly in Vantage. There's no separation of data here. All of these work together with Vantage and the new SQL engine. Now, when you look at this and you say, okay, what's my future? My future, I want to do more AI. I want to do machine learning. I want to do these future deep learning things. You may have heard of Andrew Ng. He's made quite a name for himself. He's very well known in the AI community, the artificial intelligence community, as both a researcher and a practitioner. And he lays down a very practical point here, that having clean data, which you would have in your data warehouse, right, your analytic environment, that is the basis for artificial intelligence. You can't train a model on bad data. You train a model on bad data, you're going to have a bad model. You want to train a model on clean, trusted data so that your machine learning model has accurate results, accurate predictions, accurate outcomes on here. And so for those companies that are out there, especially the Teradata customers who have built successful data warehouses, this is going to pay off in spades now. This is really going to pay off because that is the foundation to get the a solid head start on doing any type of AI, machine learning, deep learning, neural networks, whatever you have there. That is the basis. And then Vantage is built on an agile and very solid foundation. If you are going to run your business on analytics, better make sure that it's rock solid, right? So everything from linear scalability, mission critical availability, both for single systems and dual systems, running active, getting that query performance, the workload management being very important, being able to assign the different levels of importance to different queries and different users, and being able to control those in real time. Very, very important. The indexing and the adaptive optimizer, the gold standard of optimizers, being able to parse, simplify, and run your analytics in the most optimal way. So built on a solid foundation. As we move into the future, and this is very soon future here in 2019, we'll see the addition of TensorFlow. We'll see Spark coming in a little bit after that. You'll see SAS Viya coming in. All of these as engines working across the high-speed fabric. You also notice in the bottom left the native object store. This is the other importance of the separating compute and storage. We are incorporating down into the file system level access to the AWS S3 and Azure Blob storage. So object storage built down into the file system. This is not a connector. Again, this is down at the file system level, deep integration here, which means that as a customer, you can have some data resident in your Vantage system on premises. You can have some of your data sitting out in one of the cloud object stores. And perspective of Vantage and from the perspective of your users and their experience, access to it is fully transparent. They don't know where the data is. They don't need to care. All the data is a first-class citizen and all treated equally. This is the future of the modern data lake right here. Being able to have your on-premises data store in an optimized format along with your native object store all integrated together. You'll see new languages come along. You got Scala, and there's new tools with KNIME workflow, TensorFlow also. So more and more of that being built out. Now, recognizing that Vantage needs to sit within your environment and play with all the other technologies, you look at the analytical ecosystem. You probably have many or all of these different technologies. Starting on the left, you have your different sources of data, whether they're traditional structured data from ERP systems and so on, or from IoT data and text and sensors coming in, and batch or stream coming into the different data stores, relational, object, file store, document store, any emerging technologies, virtualization layer there. You probably have many of these analytic engines coming down here, the languages tools. You recognize all of this and the different users across the right, and you have an analytic process going across the bottom and deployment options going across the bottom. Probably looks familiar. If you overlay Teradata Vantage on this in the blue, this is what Teradata Vantage looks like today. This not only fits into your environment, but it highly integrates and simplifies your environment because Teradata has done the hard work, all the engineering work to make these work together seamlessly and transparently. All these tools going from right to left have intimate knowledge of each other and they work together. So this will make your environment much simpler and allow you to focus again on the business result. Now, knowing that not everything here in blue is represented in your environment, how do you access that? That's through QueryGrid. So while in the blue you see items sitting on the high-speed fabric, the items there in the slate gray are accessed through software through QueryGrid, and in the middle of the chart here you see the different technology that QueryGrid supports, reaching out in parallel high speed to your Hadoop clusters, whether they're Hortonworks or Cloudera, your object store like S3, got Hive, Cassandra, Kafka, MongoDB, Oracle, SQL, all down the line. This is QueryGrid reaching out. You can transfer data with QueryGrid. You can push down processing so that the remote system does the work, does the processing, returns only the results. So you're minimizing data movement, you're minimizing any data duplication, keeps your environment very efficient and clean. Process the data where it resides. Don't move the data around. Very scalable. query grid is a necessity in every environment, and it is a virtualization layer, but it's more than that. It's a very powerful capability. And if you take that future state that we had talked about before with Vantage, this is basically what it causes to happen. As we bring in the native the object store and the deep learning with TensorFlow turn blue here, and that line moved where TensorFlow can now, as a deep learning engine, can be on the high-speed fabric, but also the object stores, whether they're actually in the cloud or on premises with storage options that are compatible with the S3 and Azure Blob formats. And then also you'll see the Scala, Go, JavaScript here start turning blue. So more and more integration and simplification of your environment. So what this is saying is that you're going to get your business results, focus on the business problem at hand, and from an IT perspective, more of this becomes integrated, seamless. We do the integration, we do all of the certification testing to make sure it all works together for you, simplifying your environment, and so that users can just use the system. Let's change direction here a little bit and talk about flexibility. The technology to analyze and everything is the core, and that's why everyone builds their environments. But as you build your analytic environments, you do need that flexibility to deploy anywhere. In Teradata's view and in our customers' views that we work with and with the leading industry analysts, there's consensus that the majority of companies are going to have some type of hybrid architecture. Yes, there's going to be some companies that deploy 100% on premises and other companies that deploy 100% in the cloud. But the majority, 90% here in our estimation and with the analysts as well, are going to have some type of hybrid on-premises and cloud by 2020, which is just around the corner. There's two aspects of this deploy anywhere. First of all, it's choice, to be able to run against any of these. But then also it's the flexibility to do the hybrid environment and to be able to move at any time. Teradata is the only company right now that is delivering this analytic solution that is identical across all of these. So Vantage is Vantage, regardless of where it's running. Take your favorite vendor that has proprietary hardware, and you can't take that and put it in the cloud. You can't take Oracle Exadata and put that in the Amazon cloud. You can't take Netezza and put it in the public cloud. You can't take, likewise, an Amazon Redshift or a Snowflake and run them on premises on optimized hardware or on VMware to commodity back and forth and transfer them. They are not the same technologies. And Teradata is the only one that has the exact same identical technology. That's from a technical perspective, but then there's also the business perspective, that allowing that license flexibility. Licenses that you buy are 100% portable. You do not have to rebuy them. If you want to move your instance from on-premises to cloud, that license moves with you. You want to move from cloud back to on-premises or to VMware, that license is going to move with you. This is still pretty rare in the industry. I won't say that Teradata is the only one, but one of the only ones. When you combine this business licensing flexibility with the technical, this is something that really removes risk from your future, and we've seen customers take full advantage of this. We have customer testimonials, 0 lines of code change to their application to do that. Vantage is good. It needs to be surrounded by a full portfolio. You've got the consulting services from beginning to end, from just pure advising to full life cycle, optimize it, maintain it, implement it, and then your deployment choices on-premises, cloud, and your choice of on-premises and cloud technologies. And then if all of that is good and you say, well, I like all of that, but I don't want to manage it, which is kind of the promise of cloud too, right? But I don't want to manage it. You can get the whole thing as a service. Just give me access to the command prompt. Give me access to the tools. Give me the login. And let me just start running. So all of that is available as a service. The Teradata Vantage is a hybrid cloud solution. It's for pervasive data intelligence, everything that we talked about, really, so you can analyze anything, anytime, anywhere. So I hope this was helpful for you. And if you have any questions, reach out to your Teradata representative. And thank you for taking the time to listen.